If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Busy hour on tap, including Jeff Sealey coming up in about 15 minutes. His best bet at the Memorial. We continue here in studio. Professional poker player Shaun Deeb, and he was telling his weight loss prop bet that he won, and he took home about $800,000 on it in the previous hour. If you missed that story, you can go back and listen to it. Find the Follow the Money podcast wherever you get your podcasts. What are some of your prop bets, favorite prop bets that you've heard about?
Yeah, I think one of the people consulted with me with my bet is Huck Seed, a legendary Hall of Fame poker player. I think he had one where he was going to bet that he could stay in an ocean for 24 hours. Me and him actually, he's won like all of his running bets. He's runs like a 4-minute mile, crazy athletic guy. He's in his late 50s now, but he's still an animal when it comes to any physicality. And so one time we were playing a cash game, and it was like me, Huck, Doyle, John Monet, a few other old school guys, and Huck makes a bet. This is, pre-weight loss, fat Sean, and I was saying how I was like a good athlete at some point in my life. So Huck makes a bet with John Monet whether or not we can run Huck's half mile, my half mile versus John's full mile. And John's like, I've never timed my mile my whole life. I run every so often. So we bet like 5,000 each. Doyle tries to bet 50,000 on Huck because he's like, I've never seen Huck lose a running bet. So Huck's like, no, I don't want more action. We go out there. Huck's training me. He has me doing wind sprints, all this stuff. I'm absolutely gassed before we even start the bet. So I do my half mile first, and I just do a good 100 meters, but then I'm just dead. So it takes me like probably 4 minutes to do my half mile, maybe 5. And I think it was like 4. And John runs the fastest he's ever ran. I think he ran like a 5-minute, 30-second mile. So with my 4 minutes, there was no way Huck could get done in time. So he lost that bet. So I'm one of the few people Huck can ever lose on. But Huck did bet on me a little bit on the weight loss bet. So I know he made some money back on that.
You guys love action and the creativity?
I mean,
whether it's dark room, live in Iowa for a month, the stuff you guys think of at the table. Sometimes I was watching Ivy and Negreanu, and they're betting what's going to come on the flop, what color and everything.
Yeah, there's, a lot of poker players are ADHD, so we just are sitting there bored. We all have egos, and the best way to prove who's right or wrong situation is by betting on it. You guys are into sports and stuff. It's like everyone's like, who's better, Jordan or LeBron? Imagine if you could actually bet on that and then see them play. And that's what poker players do so often is we like to actually get data behind it. So if you're going to talk shit and say you can do X, Y, Z, put up your money and actually show us you can do it. And that's the nice thing is we're all willing to win and lose versus each other, and it's crazy. And there'll always be more ridiculous prop bets out there because we're going to come up with something new. And whether it's someone eating X number, $1,000 worth of McDonald's in 24 hours. And the funny thing is, like, when poker players do a prop bet, like the McDonald's one, we do all this research of what's the optimal, how many apples do we get? Like, we do all this analytics, and we love solving complex problems that no one's ever thought of. And that's why so many poker players would be very good in a lot of business settings, is because there's situations that we can just analyze something you could never even have thought of and make a good decision and make the correct decision and go on to win.
Totally outside the box, and not everybody's going to come up with, obviously. How much poker money or how many poker players have started to trickle into like the sports betting side of things? Now here at Circa, $100,000 buy-in with a Survivor contest this year. That probably speaks to quite a few poker players anyway to maybe think about. At Westgate, they have a $5,000 Survivor contest.
So me personally, I love sports. Will never bet sports, but I've thought about doing the Survivor pools because I think my tournament background of understanding the dynamics, because I think the Survivor pools are so much about playing out later weeks But that's based on the bigger field size. In a smaller field size, if it's paying, if it's winner take all, like you look at the payouts, there's all this strategy and game theory where actually skill and the picks don't matter. It's understanding your opponents and what they're likely to do. And I think that's why there's a lot of poker players who love betting sports. And also, poker, it's hard to play high stakes regularly. So you can sports bet the most obscure things on any sports book 24/7. So there's a lot of overlap in poker players and sports betting for that exact reason.
So if there's an overlay here in the $100,000 buy-in, the community will come in and snatch that up and word will travel fast.
I mean, I'm sure people will just sell action and you'll have your sports specialist. I have my good friend DJ I mentioned earlier. He loves sports more than anyone, knows a lot of stuff about it. I would just, take a $100K buy-in and give him most of the reins, and we just sit there and map it out and say, this is what we think we should do. But I can't imagine it would overlay. There's just, even if there's one spot open, someone's going to bring up together 100K in a team because it's hard to be losing, worse than 10% to not be break even with overlay.
You were saying something during the break, and it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest is professional poker player Shaun Deeb. He's going to be signing up for all the events in the World Series of Poker a little bit later on today. The more obscure the game, the better that you're probably going to be at it, and probably right away, yeah?
Yeah, so I think I have an amazing mind of understanding different games. So when new poker games come out, whether it was open face Chinese poker or Badugi or Badusi, anything that is fresh, I will find a way to adjust to a game I already knew about and say, okay, this particular trick that works in Omaha 8 or better works really well in this game Captain. So I pull from my knowledge of all the other poker games, and also, I'm very good at understanding equity and probability, so I'm doing a lot of math on the fly of these new games. So I've made a lot of money in my career with these new games, and I've sat there at a table when we've invented new games. And that's kind of, I love doing that. Me and my friends have talked about going David Skalansky route, where he created a bunch of table games for casinos and solve the odds and say, okay, this is the house edge, this is how it's fun, this is how it's exciting. My good friend Dan Wyman, reigning 2 years ago main event champ, he's working for this poker startup, and his job is to come up with all these creative ways to do different games incorporated into a poker table with his company. And you surround yourself with creative minds, we're going to come up with some crazy stuff, and sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't, but that's the good thing. It only takes one good idea to make a lot of money.
Yeah. What's your least favorite game to play?
No Limit Hold'em. Players just don't talk a lot. They play very tight. It's really when I grew up playing Hold'em, it was an ego fest. It was all psychology. It was all 4-bet, 5-bet, 6-bet, go all in, re-raise. He has nothing, I call. Nowadays, it's so methodical, so slow. It's just not as enjoyable for me. And also the better players are so much better than me that I know I'm not winning in a lot of the highest buy-in no limit tournaments. You put me in a World Series 1K like I'm playing later today against the recreational players, I'm going to have one of the highest ROIs. But you put me in the highest buy-ins, I'm going to have the lowest ROI. And that's kind of my strategy of how I play poker compared to a lot of the top guys now who are so studied and solved. While they're studying how to play exactly this percentage of the range on this board texture, I'm studying Joe from Iowa and seeing if his wife just called him that he's in trouble, he has to get home, and he can't make day 2, and now he's trying to blast off his chips.
Yeah, very good. So how about the 500,000 you just played?
So I played that because this past December in Bahamas, there was a invitational bracelet event / Triton event. It was an invitational, so an amateur has to invite a pro. So it was $500K for the amateur, $500K for the pro. On day 1, the amateurs play all separately, and on day 1, all the pros play separately. So coming day 2, they combine. So part of the reason I play that is if I can make day 2, I now get to play with a bunch of people who are not as experienced as me. So I thought I had an edge when I get to day 2. I knew on day 1 I was losing chips. I played a little conservative. I actually got bluffed a few times by some players that I kind of felt might be picking on me for the stakes. And, I sold a bunch of action. I think I had $100K worth of myself in that event, which is still the most I've ever had in an event, but it wasn't like I had $500,000 at risk. So I wanted to have enough exposure that I could play my game. If I got to the deeper stages on the bubble, I could, go for it. But, yeah, I ended up losing, but it was still a fun experience.
So can you get into more? I know you said it earlier about people reaching out with the Gus Hansen story. How much percentage do these guys have in the $1 million buy-ins or the $500,000 buy-ins.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some people who have as little as 2% of themselves in a million. There's other people who might have 125%. Nowadays with crypto and things like they can have over 100% because they're cross booking. Say you were like, oh, I'm much better than you. Let's bet 5% whatever we cash for in this event. So someone might buy action from someone else. Mike McDonald used to do that with Bank of Timex. He had a whole website where he would post markups of players, and you could buy, if you want to bet on Phil Ivey in the main event, you could buy Phil Ivey in the main event for $400 for 1% of him, whatever the numbers worked out. So that kind of stuff has always happened. So, and everyone's in their own personal spot. Sometimes people take too much of themselves and they're gambling because they think they have a good spot, or they're just stuck, or they're like, no one knows except for each individual person. It varies between everyone in the high stakes community. But I do think people have a lot more of themselves than the community thinks, because they've made so much money in different avenues, beating the highest stakes games online and live, or made money in crypto or other investments.
Okay. Yeah. What are your expectations, and how many times? Like, I want to cash this many times coming up here in the World Series to make it successful or achieve your goals.
So when I come to the World Series, my number one goal is Player of the Year. That's what I care the most about. It's hard now. They've literally changed the scoring to screw me over, and in their press release they said, we don't want someone like Shaun Deeb to win. So I mean, it's more or less what they said. They want to change the scoring so my style of pure volume does not give me such an edge to win Player of the Year. So that's my goal, is to get that, and then after that I try to win as many bracelets. I could care less about cashes. I care about money won at the end of the year. If I have one cash and it's in the main event and I get third for $7 million, great. That's an awesome summer, the best I'll ever have. There's no, I just try to show up every day, play my best game, know there's a ton of variance, and see how it goes.
Great job.
What social media platform are you most active on?
Just Twitter/X. And I apologize for all you guys and girls who go there. I'm known for having no grammar. There's actually an account, Shaun Deeb, or Deeb Spell Check, that posts all my posts, because even my family members who've known me for a long time in poker don't understand what I'm saying. Even people in poker don't understand what I'm saying. So my brain's a little too fast for my hands. I don't use punctuation. So sorry in advance if you follow me on Twitter. It's not going to be pretty most days.
Great to meet you, and crush it this summer, okay?
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate that.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great conversation there. Last 45 minutes. Professional poker player Shaun Deeb came in studio. He's signing up for the World Series of Poker events this afternoon. If you missed it, it started at 4:30 Eastern Time in the first hour of Follow the Money, and you can get it wherever you get your podcasts a little bit later on today. Here we go to the Progressive Guest Line. We'll get best bets in golf at the Memorial Tournament with Jeff Sealey. Follow him on X at Cupmaker Jeff, and his podcast, the Cupmaker Podcast, is coming out a little bit later on tonight. Good to talk to you, Jeff. Do you know the number, by the way, on Ben Griffin to win it last week?
He was north of 50. I thought in between 55 and 60.
Okay.
How good is this story, where the guy quits and goes in to be like a loan officer, and then he gets backed by some friends, and now he's on fire?
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, people don't realize, the story's a little bit overblown. I mean, it's a great story, but he was a loan officer for 8 weeks.
Okay.
So, he's an All-American player. He was a great player. He just went through a tough spell where he had some debt, and he decided to take a job, making mortgages for a while. But it wasn't like he was a loan officer for 5 years. He did it for a summer, basically. So, but no, I mean, it's a good story, and he's a great player and been having a great run. It's fun to watch.
Another tournament this week where Scotty Scheffler is involved, and he is at 3-1 or lower. I saw Jeff Sherman at the Westgate tweet out the numbers this week, and somebody responded by saying, geez, did you take a lot of money on him already? He's below 3-1. And Jeff responded, when we open him up, anything above 3-1, we take a ton of money on the guy. So he didn't win last week, but certainly you can feel and see why his numbers are so low in these kind of fields, Jeff, on a weekly basis. So what do you want to do with Scotty this week?
Guys, it's not very often that I run between 5 and 6 models every week, and each model has between 8 and 15 different variables. And when I run it every week, it's not very often that Scotty's the number one player in every single one. And this week he is. And so you look at his form, you look at any statistical model you're going to run. He won here last year. He has 2 more thirds. So you look at recent form, you look at models, you look at course form, and then you look at the fact that this is going to be a tournament where like 10 under probably wins. So this is going to be a grind, a true grind, where you're going to have to play high-level golf and just not make mistakes. And I just, in general, think that even bodes even better for Scotty Scheffler. If it was a tournament where 30 under was going to win and a lot of other people were going to be in the play, I'd say, yeah, maybe somebody can get hot and make a bunch of birdies and can catch lightning in a bottle. That's not going to happen this week. And it's going to be really, really tough for anybody to beat Scotty Scheffler this week, especially since putting is not a major factor, which if he has one Achilles heel, that's it. So I'd be surprised if Scotty Scheffler didn't win. I like the Pacers tonight. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I parlayed Scotty to win with the Pacers money line tonight, and instead of 3-1, I got him at 6-1 thanks to that parlay if Pacers win. Okay, so what about winner without and top 20 markets then? Yeah, I think you have to look at winner without then after you look at that. And I was hoping we'd get some value on Oberg this week, guys, because I think he's very live for a top 10 performance. He took 5th here last year, and I say, that's top 10. It sounds pretty obvious, but his form is not very good. And aside from the Masters here a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, he has struggled. But this course should fit his game very well, like Augusta. And again, he took 5th here last year, has had success. So I was hoping some of his current form would hurt the market. It hasn't really. So I'm not going to bet him. The first bet I made was Corey Connors, a winner without 22-1, top 20 at -120. Not really sexy, but when Connors models out as the 4th best player in the field, has top 20s in 5 of his last 6 events, has 3 top 25 finishes in his last 5 trips here. The form is there. The course history is there. The models love him. Guys, his ball striking numbers are really phenomenal. He has gained both off the tee and on approach in 8 straight events. And he's gained with his putter in 6 of his last 9. So if his chipping can hold up, which has not been great lately, Connors looks like a really great play. Really hard to argue against him this week if you can find him, 20-1 or better in the winner without market. And then my favorite, I think, outright play is probably Victor Hovland at 25-1 in the winner without market. Just because he flat out plays well here. His current form is decent, having won on the Valspar, then finished 21st at the Masters, 13th at the RBC. My concern with Hovland is his short game is absolute trash. But if he can just be average around the greens, like he was in 2023 when he won here, he's live to win this event. Putting's improved, irons are dialed. It's going to come down to chipping. So Victor Hovland is probably my favorite outright, but Corey Connors was the first guy I bet this week. And top 20, if you're going to make one bet, that's the play to make.
Very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Jeff Sealey. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on X at Cupmaker Jeff, and the Cupmaker podcast coming out later on tonight. Those are all bets below 30-1. Let's go 30-1 and above. Who do you like?
Sure. I like Siwoo Kim a lot. He was the second bet I made. I bet him winner without at 30-1, top 20 at +110. All he's done is finish T28 or better in 5 straight events, including 2 top 10s at both the PGA and the RBC Heritage. He's gained strokes putting, which with Siwoo is always an issue, 2 weeks in a row. And if he keeps the ball rolling, he keeps the ball in the fairway and gains with the putter, I think he could honestly make a run at Scotty. He's gained 3 strokes on approach each of his last 4 events. What interests me really, though, he's gained around the greens in 5 straight as well. So if Siwoo's putter stays hot, he could be a real live threat this weekend. I like him at 30-1 winner without. And then I mentioned every week, guys, I run my first grade model where I just take 2 or 3 factors that I think are really important each week. And this week, behind Scotty, number 2 comes in Aaron Rai. I know we've all bet him in various forms and fashions, but if you're betting on him, you're betting his ability to hit the fairway. The rough's going to be really thick. These are narrow fairways, and Aaron Rai, if you ever watch him play, besides the fact he wears 2 gloves, he hits this low cut that just hits the fairway every time. So irons are generally good, as is his short game. Small greens will hopefully mask the fact that he's a very poor putter, but he has gained here 8 strokes putting once in 2022, so he can get hot with the putter here. So Siwoo and Aaron Rai are my favorite 2 guys at 30-1 or above.
Okay. I hear that you wear driving gloves. Is that true?
I wear rain gloves when it's extremely humid, because some people will put like various things, get various grips or whatever. But sometimes in the Midwest, you guys know in the Midwest, the humidity gets insane here, right? And if your hands sweat, my hands sweat really bad, I would just wear rain gloves sometimes instead of regular gloves. I might sweat through it.
All right.
I'm trying to think of somebody.
That's a good tip, actually.
The driving gloves, though. I've seen that a couple.
Driving gloves that'd be way cooler. That would be way cooler story.
Yes. It's been on a TV show or a movie or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the movie
sure.
with Kevin Spacey. Okay, that's very good. How about some bombs? First round leaders, top 20. Take it away.
Guys, I really like Ryan Fox as a potential first-round leader play this week. Just won 2 weeks ago. I think he's finally finding his stride career-wise. He's 120-1. I do like him as a first-round leader option and top 20. He can hit the ball a ton. Just finished 28th at the PGA. Won at Myrtle Beach a few weeks ago, so his first PGA Tour win. Very interested in Ryan Fox at that price. And guys, Bud Cauley, I keep talking about him, but he continues to be very, very overpriced, if you will, or underpriced. 100-1 this week. Great form. Took 44th here 5 years ago, which is nothing great, but he's way better than that now. Just took 3rd last week. I mean, he's plus 225, top 20. Bud Cauley, 100-1, tremendous top 20 play. I don't know if he's going to be a first-round leader, but he's a guy who can grind out and get a nice result for you here at the top 20 market.
All right, very good. Love the analysis and details as always. By the way, so you mentioned Scotty parlayed with the Pacers tonight. You got to be a little bit concerned about Neesmith's injury, no?
I'm very concerned about it. We mentioned, when you asked me what am I more concerned about, Caitlin Clark's injury or Neesmith, it's probably Neesmith. Caitlin Clark's going to be fine, but I'm worried tonight. But I still think the Pacers are going to have enough to get it done. I think he'll probably play. And hopefully the Ben Shepherd show comes out tonight, and we can see that amazing mustache go crazy.
Yeah, I think it might. All right, pal. Thank you. Good luck tonight and this week. We appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas.
There you go. Jeff Sealey joined us on the Progressive Guest Line Best Bets there at the Memorial this week. Yeah, that's crazy, man. When you look at Scotty's numbers, he didn't win it last week. Tweaked something like after the second hole, day one. Then he made a ridiculous comeback, but fell a little bit short. And when you take out a couple of the other best players in the world, below 3-1, and then Jeff Sherman's actually saying, if I put him at plus 350, we'll just get hammered by. Yeah. That's like Caitlin Clark to win the MVP or back when Tiger Woods was golfing.
Yes.
You throw up any number, they're going to bet it.
We hit the road for the College World Series in Omaha, June 12th through the 14th. Live from Rocco's, the home of the Jello Shot Challenge. Catch money moves and follow the money. Live from Omaha in a couple weeks, the sights and sounds and best bets from the tournament. If you're in the neighborhood, stop by, say hello. Special show Saturday, 9 to noon, local time. The 12th through the 14th, College World Series from Rocco's in Omaha.
Today's MLB card is up next. Shohei Ohtani can become the 4th player since 1900 to pull this off.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's a Major League Baseball here. Some really, really good games on the card tonight, including a big series for me, personally, with the Phillies taking on the Braves because the Phillies have the most wins in May. I'm one back with the Tigers, and we only have 5 days left. And they are getting Spencer Strider tonight. Now, he has incredible, you can run these down, Pauly, incredible career numbers against the Phillies. The problem is he's not the same guy from a couple of years ago, and he's still trying to he's off the injury again. Short stint this time, but he's not the same guy that he was based on where he's at with the rehab and everything.
Regular season career, 8-0 with a 2.06 against the Phillies. Issues have occurred in the playoffs. Regular season, 8-0 with an ERA of 2. Incredible what he's done. And Schwarber's had no luck against him either. 5 for 33.
The velocity is down, right? Almost, I think, a 2+ full miles per hour on like the fastball. And trying to build up that arm strength is going to be part of the process with a lack of like rehab starts to get ready for this one tonight. But also the Phillies are basically playing the best baseball in the entire league right now.
Yep.
Good pitching, and their hitting is outstanding. The top of the lineup is incredible, as you all knew going into the season. But they're really playing like it now. So I can't bet Strider in this game tonight. I hope that they win, based on my month-long bet here on the Tigers, but not worth a bet in my opinion.
Okay.
By the way, there is this: the Phillies are 15-2 against last-place teams this year. Miami, Colorado, Pittsburgh, and the Athletics. They are 19-17 against all other teams.
Is this a Malinsky special?
The Mariners?
No, the Phillies with this.
Okay.
Weren't they off a long road trip?
They might be. I know the Mariners would qualify, but the Mariners had a day off yesterday.
Okay.
They get the Nationals at home tonight, and the Mariners are kind of a big favorite in that game. I don't have the Phillies in front of me. There's also this. Matt Olson has a career slugging of .719 at Citizens Bank Park. That's the second highest all time, only behind Ryan Braun. So Olson smashes in this park overall throughout his career.
Okay. It's only a 7-game road trip for the Phillies. You mentioned your tees. It's a big one to start. Can he do it again? We're ready to go here in first pitch in about an hour.
Mm-hmm. Ohtani can become the fourth player since 1900 to hit a leadoff home run in 3 straight games. The other players that do that, of course, Brady Anderson.
Not legitimate.
By the way, he did it 4 straight games.
Yeah.
Back in 1996.
Oh, my God. Sure. That was just some stupid baseball was occurring there.
I know it. Ronald Acuna and Alex Verdugo each did it 3 times.
Uh-huh.
So it's May against Bybee. Anything here with? By the way, look at the number here, $130 for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, and I could see runs. He's been good with the 2.37 his last 6 starts. We know May has been bad on the road. I could see runs in this game over 9, and I don't trust the Dodgers, and specifically May here. Ohtani's on pace for 57 bombs, by the way. Mm-hmm. So see if he can do it again. And Smith has crushed it, going back, hitting almost 400 last 14 games with 16 RBIs for the Dodgers.
Yeah. By the way, the $1.30 was for the first 5 here at Circa. It's $1.25 on the Dodgers for the game, even a little bit shorter price there. Rockies are taking on the Cubs. It's
here we go.
Marquez versus Horton. The Rockies look to avoid becoming the first team in Major League Baseball history to lose 21 consecutive series. The last time they won one against Arizona last September, and there's also this. The Rockies are 10-34-8 in the first 5. They're also 4-18-1 in the first 5 in their last 23 games. The Cubs priced to the moon, as is the story every day when a team takes on the Rockies.
On pace for the worst run differential, shatter the record, 519. They're 173 this year. If you take the 2 worst teams under the Rockies and combine them, they still have a worse run differential. Cubs average 6 a game, right? Mm-hmm. So here we go with the offense. ESPN.com, peekaboo, who's the MVP? PCA, they say. Read the article today.
Oh, did they put it out, huh?
Yeah.
2 months in. Here's the problem again. Ohtani has been on fire for like 3 weeks.
Well, okay. But to each his own. And we'll see if Marquez can do anything, which his numbers, his last 6 starts against the Cubs, 0-3 with an ERA of 9, and he's 1-7 with an ERA of almost 8 this year. So you figure the Cubbies get to him, and Horton's been okay, and 3.25. And these are just absurd numbers when we're talking about everything Colorado-related here.
I was going to say, can you explain what you mean if Marquez can do anything?
Well, because he's been okay in 3 starts. So can he limit them to 3 runs or something?
He can
or
today
2 runs,
because, again, Wrigley, where this game is being played, not batter-friendly today. And it's not like Chicago scored 1 million runs in that game yesterday, right? It was a struggle for them to put up runs and to win the game.
Yeah.
They eventually did, but could get some similar conditions. Again, we saw that. Your guy there, the MVP PCA, that shot that he hit to right center would have been a home run in 29 out of 30 ballparks. Not at Wrigley, and the wind kept it in.
Suzuki, 464. 13 for his last 28, 8 extra base hits, 10 RBIs, and I mentioned yesterday like 49 RBIs in 50 games.
Mm-hmm.
What he's done.
So he's
plus 225 to have 2 hits, 2+ hits, and then you can get creative with whatever you want for total bases, hits, runs, RBIs, whatever. But he continues to mash for the Cubbies.
Trying to get a number here in the Cubs, like -1.5 for the first 5. Yeah, you can get plus money on that, but that's, again, not really friendly conditions at Wrigley today, but it is against Marquez, and there's nothing really good to say about Colorado at all, obviously.
How about a Yerfie? You want a Yerfie?
I do, and I think I know where you're going with this one.
Bradley against Ryan. Tampa hot, won 6 in a row. Outscored their opponents 37-10. Bradley, an ERA of 10 in the first inning. He's allowed 11 runs. Ryan's been solid, 3-0 with a 1.50 last 5 for the Twinkies, but could be a Yerfie there as Bradley's been bad in the first inning.
And how about this? His ERA is 3.47 from the second inning on.
Like Tom Glavine. You get him early, you don't get him.
So there are the issues, right? Plus 110, by the way, on the Yerfie tonight.
Yes.
Yes to the run in the first inning. You can find some even money, a little bit lower than that, but here at Circuit's plus 110 on that.
Okay. And how about what Eovaldi can do tonight?
Right.
This is an interesting game and a hell of a matchup. He's at home against Toronto. Vlad owns him. Vlad's hitting .430 against him. And Vlad's got a 26-game on-base streak. But Eovaldi's trying to become the first Ranger pitcher to go 7 in a row with 1 earned or less. Got a 1.60 what he's doing.
Sure.
How quiet is this season?
I know it.
And he's only $1.40 against Toronto. Problem is, you could be looking at a no decision because they can't hit. So they've lost 7 of 8, and they're hitting $1.90. Probably the magic number's 4. They score 4 or more, they're 19-3. But that doesn't happen a lot.
What do you make of the first 5 total? It's sitting there at 4.5. With how good he's been,
wow, yeah,
and the lack of offense.
Yeah,
the Rangers.
How about your bet? What's you get involved with that first 3?
I did that yesterday with DeGrom. That was plus like 128 taking on Gossman. I have not checked out the first 3. The problem is Francis is going for Toronto, so this is pharmacist doctor, right? Like which one's going to win out in the end? Which one do you trust the most? Do you trust that Francis has been so bad the Rangers will get runs, or do you think that the Rangers' offense has been so bad that Francis can actually limit them? So it's a tough conundrum there, Pauly, that you're in.
Yep, I'm with you.
That's why the Rangers are minus 150 on the run line in the first 5, even though they can't hit.
How about this Detroit game? Don't trust Flaherty at all. They're 33-12 when he doesn't pitch. They're 2-8 when he's on the mound.
Yeah.
They're on pace for 103 wins, best record in the American League, second best in all of baseball. Webb's off a horrendous start. Does he bounce back? They're favored. San Francisco's favored in Detroit. That tells you how bad Flaherty's been. And 9 games in a row, San Francisco has been held to 4 runs or fewer.
And again, it comes down to level of trust here. Do you not trust Logan Webb to bounce back after a rough start?
Yep. Yes,
so would I. And I think the sample size here now for Flaherty has been going on for a couple of months where I don't think he's going to recover all of a sudden.
Okay. And a prop in that game, O'Hearn is on fire. 7 hits in his last 8 at-bats. Mm-hmm. He's at $2 to get a hit. But you can get creative with what you want to do there. But important that I point that out. And there was one more here. What do I have? Oh, Yankees. 883 OPS against lefties. Best for the Yankees since the 1998 team. Rodon on a great run, 5-0 with a 1.48. Introducing the $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VEASAN. All you need to do is open a G-Bank Visa signature credit card in the first 90 days, deposit, and play through $1,000 at First Bet to trigger the $500 try. You get $200 in cash back rewards on your G-Bank Visa signature card. First Bet will give you a $100 deposit match, and VEASAN will complete the try with a free VEASAN Pro subscription through August 31st. $200 value. The $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VEASAN. Go to VEASAN.com/GBank, VEASAN.com/GBank. One-time promotion limited to customers opening a new account in response to this offer. Apply today. Go get it. Terms and conditions apply.
More on Ryan O'Hearn here. Sorry, his .340 batting average this season is 5th among MLB qualifiers. He's batting .265 with 2 strikes. That ranks number 9 overall in baseball. And up next, I want to expand on Carlos Rodon because I think he's a prime candidate to strike out a lot of batters tonight. I'll tell you why. We have WNBA props and NBA props to get into next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Get the props here for the card tonight. I want to expand in baseball here on some K props. You brought up Carlos Rodon. You're exactly right. He has been sensational. 5-0, 1.48, as you said, with the ERA, last 7 starts. That was after going 1-3 with a 5+ ERA in his first 4 starts this year, taking on an Angels team. Rodon has a 31% strikeout rate. Almost 11 Ks per 9. The Angels strike out 27.3% of their at-bats against lefties, second most in baseball behind the Rockies. Lefties are 6-2 over their K prop against the Angels on the year. Yarbrough, his prop last night was 3.5. He had 7. Sears and Kershaw recently went under. Every other lefty starter went over their K prop. And I'm looking at some projections for tonight. Rodon could get to actually double digits tonight. I would not be surprised. So I played over 7.5 at plus money earlier today. Okay,
very good. Hunter Brown should bounce back too. He was awful in his last start. Some big prices tonight. He's 240 against the A's.
A's have been so bad.
Yep. Burns is 270 at home against the Pirates. Padres seem a little cheap. $1.60 against the Marlins. Mayer's been awful his last 5 starts. ERA is 7. Padres can't hit though, and they're lucky they won yesterday.
Yeah.
But that seems a little cheap that they should be able to get the bats going against this guy.
I think another prime candidate tonight for strikeouts is McGill for the Mets, taking on the White Sox, a 31% strikeout rate, 12.38 Ks per 9. The White Sox strike out 23.2% of the time, 6th highest in baseball. McGill had 10 in his last start out. That was against Boston. He's 7-3 over his K prop on the year. He's also had good showings against the Phillies where he struck out 10. He struck out 9 against the Nats. I know the Nats offense, not exactly the same, but 7 against the Cubs as well. So this guy has awesome strikeout numbers, a bad White Sox offense. I played over 6.5 at plus 130 today with him. So those are my 2 strikeout props that I'm on tonight in baseball.
Okay, good card, WNBA. The Mercury were 6. I wondered why. Something must have come down with an injury report, or people just realized, come on, Sky are awful. Mercury up to 7.5. Reese rebounds 12.5. Couple unders now, but the biggest takeaway from the last loss is, again, she's in there when they're down 30 late in the game. So they have to show me something, like a pulse if they can actually hang. But Mercury up to 7.5.
Well, I think it's a good battle for the total as well, because Chicago has allowed 91 or more points in all 3 games this year. Phoenix has allowed 62 or fewer points in 2 of their last 3 home games. The under is 4-0 in their games. So it's a battle of contrasting style here. But I'm with you. I think that the Sky are just absolutely god-awful.
Yep.
So she's had 17, 12, and 12 rebounds in the 3 games so far. 12.5 not worth a bet to me.
No. How about Plum? Now you can do 3-pointers and you can do points. And again, she's averaging 4 threes a game, averaging 24.5 points per game. And they're at home tonight, and she is 23.5 against Atlanta.
And you can find 2.5 made threes in this game, Pauly.
Oh, that's good.
So here's the key, right? So on the season, she's in order 4, 3, 4, 2, and 6. So that's 4 and 1 of the over 2.5 made threes. By the way, there's no Griner in this game tonight for Atlanta either. But the bigger number that you want to pay attention to with Kelsey Plum, her 3-point attempts per game, 6, 9, 9, 10, and 10. So she is going bombs away. And
like that.
Yeah, I think going over 2.5 with her is not bad. And I talked to somebody who bets the NBA every day. They like the Sparks tonight in this game. They bet it a little bit earlier before the Griner news, I think, officially came out. But
okay.
yeah.
Why is Collier so low? So for Minnesota, they're 4-0. Seattle's 3-1. She was as low as 22.5 with her prop. She's averaging 29.5 a game.
Yeah. I saw this was all over the map. Several books had 22.5, all the way up to 24.5. So on the year, 34, 23, 28, and 33. I guess last year against Seattle, she stayed under that number twice, but she's on a mission this year again.
I know. I'm with you. Plus, I think they're coming off that poor performance, too, when they were laying 16 and we're down 15 with 5 minutes left. Diggins is averaging 9 dimes a game.
You know, that's a great angle there because I think it coincides here, too, right, with what Seattle did.
Uh-huh.
Seattle ran the Aces out of the gym.
Yes, they did.
So you have Seattle coming off of that performance where they crushed Las Vegas to beat them by 20, and the Lynx, as a huge favorite, struggled to win the game. So maybe you expect a bounce back and almost a letdown here simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we get a strong effort out of Minnesota. That's right.
All right, okay.
Golden State, if you want to go, they're 2-1. How about that, the new franchise? Had a big upset over the week, but they're 17.5-point dogs against the Liberty, and you would think this could go over and the Liberty can get whatever they want, maybe score 100 points in that first game.
All right, and then officially, what do you have on the betting board tonight that you've put in pocket for player props in the NBA? I have McConnell PRA over 14.5.
Okay. I bet points over, and you can do that too with the PRA. That's I don't know where. Yeah, Carpuck said he saw 13.5. Okay, but
here's
I'm
why.
with you because the numbers are strong. He's been good.
Yep.
Again, he 5 of the last 6 he's scored at least 10 points. His points 8.5. In 5 home games, he's averaging 12 and 5. That's the 14.5 what you just talked about.
And 3.5 boards.
There you go. So that all, and I think he'll be an important factor in this game. The news that came down, Neesmith will play. Maybe hurts the Ben Shepherd angle, but I would think Ben Shepherd can at least get 3 points in this one as well because Matherin might be in a doghouse.
Sure. I could totally see that. There's a lot here to like with Ben Shepherd. There's also this, just in case Neesmith, again, is not exactly 100%, can't go tonight, whatever the case might be. The second most defensive possessions by any player on the Pacers team is Ben Shepherd on Jalen Brunson behind Aaron Neesmith. Brunson is 5 of 12 from the floor, guarded by Shepherd in this series. Played 7 minutes in Game 1, came back in Game 2 and scored 6 points. Played 17 minutes in Game 3, which was tight, and he had 3 points in that game. You mentioned Matherin has been terrible. I don't even know how many minutes that guy's going to get at this point. Only played 8 minutes in Game 3. Shepherd, 48% from the floor, 41% from deep in the playoffs, and 6-0 over 2.5 points when he plays 10-plus minutes in the postseason. So there's a lot of angles there that can get it done tonight for Ben Shepherd. 1-3 is all you need.
I don't know from a Knicks standpoint what's going to happen. Because Brunson's been in foul trouble. Brunson's also coming off a bad game. Will he look to get his early? Remember, the Knicks starters have been outscored big time, not only in the series, but through the playoffs. Does Cat go off again? What does Tibbs do with his rotation? Is it going to be, imagine they start Robinson again? Who's coming off the bench? So this is, it's hard to know from a Knicks standpoint, but a lot of people today were making the case for Bridges props that he could score tonight. But I'm with you. I like the Pacers for the game. It's up to 3 at DraftKings. I think they bounce back after the home loss, and I like how Halliburton said, put it on me, that I did a bad job and we weren't pushing it, and we have to play faster where we're at our best. And, who knows? Maybe he gets a boost with the dad being in the building. He's back.
Who has been the better team in the series?
Indiana. Up 16 with 20 minutes left. Lost. And then the miracle win in Game 1.
Right.
But then Game 2 was funky. It was all Siakam. And Siakam took him out.
I thought
39 points.
I thought Game 2 they were the better team.
Yeah.
I thought they were the better team for most of Game 3 until the collapse. I think the series absolutely should be 2-1 Pacers. I've heard a lot of the Knicks have been the better team in the series. I don't think they have been.
No.
But I do. You talk about like the guys that you want to trust. Cat's had one bad game, and again he crushed the Pacers in the regular season and has an incredible history against Miles Turner. And his prop was earlier in the series. For Game 2, it was 23.5 because he had a great Game 1. And then Game 2, he didn't do much, so it comes back down. Was awesome again in the fourth quarter. Now tonight, 21.5.
That's why I don't mind topping props. Because Game 2 was the fluke. That's also the game Towns was benched. But that's the game where Turner was on the court for a lot of minutes, and it wasn't Toppin. And then game one and game 3, it was all Toppin.
Mm-hmm.
And Toppin was great. I think he was, what were they, plus 10 or something in the last game when he was out there. So, and Toppin went over his points and rebounds. So that's, I think, what Carlisle's going to do tonight. Take your betting to the next level with First Bet, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream, or Saratoga. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now, firstbet.com. Promo code VSIN200. Get a 20% rebate on all your wages for the first 60 days, up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today. Firstbet.com.
Seeing the total now all the way down to 219.5 in this game, by the way. I agree with the move.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be...
I'm going to trust Halliburton. Go, go, go. Not that it'll be like we'll get that crazy game 1 game, but we could see more up and down and fast pace and go over the total.
Yeah, I think we get more of a grinder tonight. We're on opposite sides of that one. I think the Knicks will control things. I think that 106-100 game from the other night, I think that's how they want to play the game.
That's how they should play the game.
Yeah. But again, like, does that mean that's how it's going to play out? Not necessarily.
Yeah, because they ran with them in the first one.
Yep. Up next, we'll get the status of some key players for tonight and tomorrow night in the NHL. Best bets from Jonathan Davis coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.